Hello, fellow fans of anything and everything scary. I am your host, Justin, and welcome back to another Midnight Horror Tale. In today's episode, we'll be listening to stories of these famous urban legends. Without further ado, let's get into it. Bloody Mary. Remember that annoying little story of Bloody Mary? You know, that light a candle in your bathroom with the lights out late at night, look in the mirror and say her name 3 times in a row? Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And hope you won't be found dead with your eyes scratched out, or with claw marks all over your body, or the possibility that you will be forever trapped behind the glass of the mirror for all eternity. What a fun and cheery tale. Well, one must wonder where that tale had come from. There are hundreds of backstories on how Bloody Mary came to be, but one of the most reasonable as it can get with a reflection that kills you, is the tale of her demise. In the 18s, there lived a young girl named Mary. An illness washed over the place where they lived, making people drop dead after a short period of time. When physicians couldn't find a pulse, or when they put a mirror under the nose of the seemingly dead, there might not always be condensation on it from their breaths. So, the fallen would be easily assumed to be dead. But were they? Cases of people who were pronounced dead but weren't happened often. So when one would die, people would put a small hole in the coffin and put a piece of string through the hole that was attached to a bell. The bell would hang on a stick by the homes of the deceased, and if they woke up, they would simply pull the string, ring the bell, and would be dug up. Of course, when Mary was to be bedridden and slowly died, she was laid in a coffin in her grave. She wasn't buried under just yet. It would be easier to unnail the coffin she was put away in. The string and the bell was, of course, on hand. Days passed, then up to a week. Her parents never left the house, wishing with their very being that their sweet Mary would awaken again. Friends of the parent claimed that if she had not woken up yet, then she never would. That day, the parents left the house with their friends at their behalf. When her parents had gone, a neighbor came and began to fill her grave, string and all, just in case she would wake up, if she was still alive, and if so, before she suffocated. The neighbor had said his remorse and walked to his house. Not soon after Mary woken from her slumber, she pulled the string to the bell that wouldn't be heard from her parents who were out and the neighbor who was too far away. She pulled and pulled the string until the bell fell, and so did the stick. She began clawing and scratching at her wooden prison until her fingers bled. Then she cut scratching till she breathed her last breath. When the parents arrived home, the father soon realized that the bell was yards away from where it originally was, and soon called for his wife to come and help dig up their daughter. When they dug up and unlatched the coffin, they found Mary in a petrified state, her hands like claws, covered in blood, same with her white dress she was buried in. They put a mirror under her nose to see if her breaths would show condensation. Condensation was shown on the mirror, but even so, she was dead. Her spirit is said to have attached to the mirror, and now whenever one says Bloody Mary 3 times, she comes and claws at the unknowing victim. Poor Mary, the little girl waking up from her own death, just to be killed again, trapped in a wooden box, her own prison, with a lack of people near her that could help her. A very sad tale. Our next story is called The Licker. Some people better know it as Humans Can Lick Too. You ever have the fear and feeling of someone watching you when you're alone at your house? sitting in your bed, and all of a sudden, you feel like someone's eyes are staring right at you, but you know no one is here with you. Well, this story will not help you with that feeling. This is a story of the licker, or better known as Humans Can Lick Too. Once, there was a little girl who had a lovely little dog. Her parents were on vacation, and she was home alone for the weekend. The second night, she was on the couch, watching the news, when a news story came up. Apparently, some psycho from the northern part of town was coming and killing children. The girl immediately went and locked every door and window in the house. That night, she went to bed as usual. She knew everything was okay because when she put her hand down, the dog licked it. But later in the night, she heard a drip, drip, drip. She put her hand down and the dog licked it. And everything was okay. So, she went downstairs to check out the tap. But the tap wasn't dripping. She went to bed. An hour later, she woke up from the dripping noise again, but it was closer now. She was too afraid to leave the room, but she put her hand down and the dog licked it again, and she felt fine. But she stayed up this time. At 2 a.m., she heard it again, but from the bathroom. She put her hand down and the dog licked it one more time. Then she got up and went to check it out. When she opened the door, she screamed so loud it almost shattered the mirror. When she opened the door, she saw her dog hanging from the ceiling with its abdomen slit open, its intestines dripping to the floor. Written on the mirror, in what seemed to be blood, was, "Humans can lick too." Bone chilling. The idea of a psychopath under your bed pretend to be your dog that he had just killed makes you wonder, was that lick on your hand from your dog? Or is the psychopath under your bed pretend to be a dog waiting to strike and make you his next victim? Our third and final story of this scary night is the Black-Eyed Children. Have you ever heard of the Black-Eyed Children? No. Well, a lot of people have, and a lot have said they've seen the Black-Eyed Children, and some said they have let them into their own houses. The Black-Eyed Children are a phenomenon happening over years and years. People saying on a night that you will hear a knock at your door. At night, when you go open it, you'll see two kids, younger and an older child. They'll ask you a simple question over and over again. Can you let us in, please? It is cold outside. Some people let the kids in out of common courtesy, but when they see the kids' eyes, they know they're not real children. The kids' eyes are pure abyss black. One story to Reddit tells about their grandmother's experience with the Black-Eyed Children. This story was posted under the r/paranormal subreddit under a question asking, has anyone encountered black-eyed people? Please share your stories, pictures, or experience. The story goes, my great-grandmother lived in a small town in NM. She claimed when she was younger, I'm assuming around her 30s, so this would be like 1950 to 1960. She was home alone at night getting a snack before bed when she heard someone knocking on her front door. She lives literally in the middle of the desert with hardly any neighbors, so when she went to enter the door, there was a child with their back turned towards her. They wanted to come in and ask her if she could give them something to eat. She refused. That's when they turned around to show her their face with the blackest eyes. She thought it was a demon and closed and locked her front door. She claims to have heard knocking and banging on the door and windows for hours until until the sun comes up. Pure chills. The stories that were told today give me pure chills. From the fright of being cramped, tiny places, to being buried alive, to the home invasion and a psychopath pretending to be the homeowner's dog ready to kill her. And then to the phenomenons of the black-eyed kids and people. This episode may have seemed short, but just your luck, we have another video posted to this account about Cupid, myths, and folktales. So if you like this video, go and check out our other video. And on that note, have a dark and gloomy night, Midnight Tales listeners. And make sure that dripping noise is just your tap